Well, greetings to you, dear watcher, dear listener. I am Scott Spradlin, and I'm recording this video and audio session live from the world headquarters of the Spradlin clan, which is also home of Wichita DBT and home of Wise Mind for the Distracted Mind, which is the Wichita DBT program that features DBT adapted for adult ADHD challenges. And Mariah Spradlin, my fabulous wife, who's also a clinical social worker and a licensed clinical addictions counselor, it's she and I have co-authored a workbook to be published by New Harbinger Publications in July 2026. We have the final pre-published galley, and as a gift to those who are interested in learning more about our perspective on this and our application of this of DBT to adult ADHD, I'm going to run a series of videos following excerpts of the content from the forthcoming workbook. And I hope that will be meaningful to you. Mm. I'm having a cup of warm coffee in my presently favorite mug, Kaysen's Kickoff Club, which is a premium we've been giving away to folks who are supporting our 11-year-old's soccer program. But you're not here to hear about that. So I'm going to share with you a little bit today from the introduction of the workbook. And this is will reflect our stance toward our own ADHD. Both Mariah and I are adults who've been diagnosed with ADHD and been contending with that in various ways over the course of our lives. So we have a very, let's say, vested interest in developing an approach with DBT to help ourselves and also to help other adults who are struggling with executive function impairment. So, and we offer this truly as humbly as we possibly can, and we'll be welcoming over time, of course, as the work comes out for feedback and interactions with the general public, the folks who are indeed DBT experts from the DBT community and those who've been trained by in the lineage of Dr. Marshall Lenahan and others so that we can continue to move the field forward. And this is not the end game for any of us. This is just a beginning, actually, in many ways. So stay tuned. Stay tuned in the broad sense toward be tuned to or open to keeping track of what's happening in the research world with those who are doing diligent and good faith research on adaptations of DBT. And we as clinicians have done what we can to pull from the research to provide an evidence-based format of the adaptation for DBT and putting it into practice and then revising it as needed in our applications and then continuing to follow what researchers might be saying. And perhaps one day we'll have some nearby researchers perhaps we can work with. We start this workbook by saying to all of you, welcome, fellow travelers. We invite you to explore the spaces and words within these pages where you can learn about the nature of your ADHD and related experiences. We, Scott and Mariah, understand all too well the experience of living with ADHD. Both of us are diagnosed with ADHD, and we know the myriad frustrations, impediments, and challenges that come with ADHD, especially in our adult life. Both of us are also intensively trained DBT therapists. We are very dedicated to our practice of DBT as a model of therapy that offers both compassion and effective tools for regulating attention, emotions, and behaviors. Our interest in helping ADHD adults and helping you is very personal and important for us. Additionally, we are dedicated to studying and continuing education in the science and the nature of ADHD, the role of medications, lifestyle factors, and the evidence for best psychotherapy practices. And as you might imagine, much of our clinical practice is now dedicated to working with ADHD adults, adopting DBT to bring hope and practical tools to our co travelers. If you're holding this workbook, and I hope that you will be holding it soon, starting July 2026, chances are you've experienced the wild ups and downs of living with ADHD. Perhaps you felt frustrated, misunderstood, or as a life is nothing more than constantly twirling about in endless circles of futility. We get it. We've been there, alone and together. We sometimes fall into our own ADHD traps, and thanks to DBT principles and practices, we find our way out again. As you travel through these pages with us, you will learn DBT principles and practices that will help you minimize your ADHD traps or help you out of them as needed. And throughout these pages, you will learn about the underlying neurobiological nature of ADHD to engender self-compassion and understanding, which opens paths for effective responses to your ability to activate and sustain attention more effectively and help inhibit impulsivity. You will learn distress tolerance skills to respond effectively to impulsivity and the inevitable pains of life, and cultivate willingness and radical acceptance. You will better understand emotion dysregulation as a feature of ADHD and how to reduce your emotional vulnerability. This is a very important part of ADHD. You'll better understand emotion dysregulation as a feature of ADHD and how to reduce your emotional vulnerability with sustained lifestyle changes. You also learn tools for improving your relationships with others while meeting your own needs and wants. And of course, when you see the printed material, you'll see that for those who purchase the book, there's a link to some adjunctive materials and handouts. We know that you know how to do much of what you should, need, and want to do, even with ADHD getting in the way. The trouble is overcoming inertia, right? And becoming more consistent with task initiation and completion. And to paraphrase what the great choir of ADHD colleagues, predecessors, and heroes has been saying for years, ADHD is not a knowing problem, it is a going problem. And put another way, ADHD is not a knowledge deficit disorder, it is a performance deficit disorder. DBT is a unique approach to adult ADHD as it approaches ADHD with neurobiology in mind, provides a set of skills accounting for behavioral principles to affect motivation, for example, using principles of reinforcement, aversion, shaping. And this invariably fluctuates and will steep you in validation and acceptance, which opens new spaces for finding practical solutions to daily problems while aiming toward cultivating a life worth living. We hope that you will be inspired by your discovery of skills that can help you become more efficient in attending to the necessary mundane task of life as you learn to skillfully regulate your attention, emotions, and behaviors, not merely for the sake of being efficient, but also to help you connect with your wise mind and your life worth living goals. This practice will energize your aspirational values, which are realized through the tactical embodiment of your values with DBT skills. And our hope for you is that you will also, over time, Find increased balance between efficiency and love, which we address throughout these pages, where efficiency guides you in simplifying elements of your inner and outer life, fulfilling the daily mundane obligations are inspired by and in service of love, with love being an existential stance of commitment that you take toward your life worth living goals that is rich with connection, meaning, and satisfaction. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope that you'll find some practical help and meaningful inspiration from these pages when they become available. And today I wish you to be mindful, be well fed, be loved.